Only the military's helicopters can reach the yacht.
Looks like this could get rough. We all set?
Yes, sir.
But it'll require dangerous mid-air refueling.
Okay, Jim. Cockpit checklist.
Yeah, APU control switch.
The crew of Air Force Rescue 110 is ready to roll. As they leave, reports come in that the weather system off the east coast is developing fast. Two massive fronts are colliding with a hurricane. But the forecasters have no idea how dangerous it will become.
Shall I open the sunroof?
The Joker in our pack is by far Graham Bashore. He's a lot of fun to be around, and he certainly is a Joker. There's no doubt about it.
So what do you do for Halloween, Graham? I go to my sister Elaine's. We do a party there every year, like an annual thing.
We all work together very well. Dave, the aircraft commander, very goal-oriented individual.
Being in charge and being a leader kind of comes naturally to me. When I was a kid, I mean, I was never the first or second to be picked. I was always the captain.
Myself, I'm a little more laid back. I think Jim Mioli falls more into that category also.
I loved helicopters, anything about helicopters. Then when you add the neat kind of man toy stuff that we have, it's a lot of fun.
Rick was reserved on the quiet side, very professional, and John was more vocal than Rick.
I guess it was an amazing time in my life. I was only married at this point 2 years. We were expecting our first child. My wife was 5 months pregnant.
Half an hour in, and the crew get ready for the first refueling.
Airspeed 120, altitude 1500. We've got 45 minutes of gas left.
In these turbulent conditions, Dave Rivola's skills as a pilot will be tested to the limit.
Air Force Rescue 110.
You need to overcome the anxiety and the fear factor of flying that close to another airplane.
He needs to gently ease the helicopter's probe into a supply line, trailing behind a flying fuel tanker.
You know, you've got spinning rotor blades that are rotating around, you know, at a very, very high velocity. And obviously, if that hits anything, you know, there's going to be a problem.
Okay, extending the refueling probe.
Air Force Rescue 988 to Air Force Rescue 110. Copy that.
It's like playing a video game and getting points.
Way to go. Air Force Rescue 110.
When you hit that drogue, even in clear weather, it's like, whoop, you know,
we have contact.
it always makes you feel good.
Air Force Rescue 988 to Air Force Rescue 110.
The crew now has enough fuel to reach the stricken yacht. But as they plow on, weather conditions deteriorate.
I do remember having butterflies in my stomach because it was going to be a challenging mission. We become aware that the winds are very gusty. The waves are up to 40 feet. And we're starting now to realize we're at our limits.
The youngest of the crew, Jim Mioli, has never flown in weather this bad.
I just got out of school. I was very green. Graduated, you know, just less than a year before, so I was very new, very green. Rookie.
Nervous? I'm a little. Nerves are good.
Two hours in, Air Force Rescue 110 reaches the stranded yachtsman.
Air Force Rescue 110 to Air Force Rescue 988. We have visual contact. I don't like the look of this, Dave.
And this is where it got dicey, because the sail had been ripped off, the mast was pretty much straight up, and now the seas were very, very rough, and the winds were very strong.
Again, this guy in the boat, he looked like, to me, like a rubber ducky in a bathtub. He's just getting splashed around or knocked around.
The plan is for John and Rick to rope down into the sea.
Pretty extreme, huh?
Then Jim will hoist them all back to safety. But in this weather, it won't be an easy pickup.
It sounds quite simple. Let's send a cable down, somebody grabs it, and they get up inside the helicopter. It is not even remotely close to that easy. I have no problem putting PJs in that type of environment. They are extremely good swimmers, extreme physical conditioning, no concern at all that they would be able to swim over to the boat and get this guy off the boat. The big concern was getting everybody back into the helicopter. Put 2 PJs in the water and we can't get them on, now we have 3 survivors that we have to deal with.
Okay, that looks rough. What do you guys think?
It's Jim's responsibility to winch everybody safely back to the chopper.
Can you get us any closer, Dave? That's about as close as I can go. I don't want to get too tight to the mast.
It's his call, whether or not they go for the rescue.
And one of the big problems is with the hoist cable, it'll act like a cutter and literally cut through, arms, cut off arms, or worse, maybe wrapped around that person's neck, literally decapitate him.
It's your call, Jim.
How we doing back there, Jim?
Nah, it's too risky. I can't do it.
It was a tough decision. It really was. We went all the way out to try to get this guy up, and I didn't think I could do it.
Okay, let's head back. Radio in the decision.
Air Force 110 to Air Force 988.
That was the first mission I was on where, we had to actually turn around and say no to it. That was a very disheartening experience.
Conditions too poor to execute rescue. Over.
But it was the right decision. It's not all like Hollywood, The hero doesn't always come out alive and everything works out fine.
I thought that took a lot of courage for Jim to speak up. To be right there looking at that survivor, ready to go. The most junior person on the crew spoke up and said, I don't think we can do this mission.
Air Force Rescue 110 heads back, leaving the yachtsman to wait for a ship rescue. But home is still 450 kilometers away, and the superstorm is building. Like throwing gasoline on a fire, colliding storm fronts are re-energizing an old hurricane to become a cyclone of epic proportions. These are tough conditions for refueling, but Dave must take on fuel if he's to get the crew back to base.
We came up on our 4th and final air refueling, and that's when the weather went from bad to horrendous in almost the blink of an eye.
I mean, we just knew that we were in for a hell of a ride. We did not know that we were flying inside basically a hurricane-force storm.
This is the worst weather conditions I had ever flown in, and there isn't anything you can do about it. You can't tell God to turn the weather off.
Dave has never refueled in weather conditions this severe.
And I really had to fly this thing very aggressively.
Airspeed 110, altitude 1,500 feet.
There's plenty of dangers. You could bump into the 130, catastrophic failure, fall out of the sky.
Okay, we need to get this over with fast.
You can bump into the hose with the rotor blades. You lose rotor blades and basically fall out of the sky. Helicopter crashes, uncontrolled crashes, are not normally survivable.
There was turbulence that, was really rocking us left and right, up and down, any which way you can imagine. We were hanging on for dear life.
Guys are vomiting. The airplane being buffeted, plus or minus 100 foot. I'm trying to go down, it's going up.
We've got 20 minutes of gas.
Fuel is running low.
It's critical that we get it. There's no place else to go to put the helicopter down other than the ocean.
They're still 150 kilometers from land.
Where the hell is it gone?
And he can't even see the refueling plane through the clouds.
Back off! Back off!
hide from my own guys. They saw me up close and personal and what I was up against, trying to get this damn probe in this drogue. Yeah, there were a few choice words that came out of my mouth inside the cockpit. There's no doubt about it.
The cloud ceiling is dropping, going down to 500.
Air Force Rescue 110.
We're doing a lot of suggestions, turning in a different heading, different direction, climbing down, all different situations to find clearer air so we can get gas and get home.
We'd like to try this at 500 feet.
Dave takes the chopper lower to get below the storm. But the turbulence only gets worse.
Come on. Come on.
We'd been doing this for more than half an hour. Well, now I knew we were crossing that line, that things were beyond our control, that we may not get fuel. And once I realized that, the thought of ditching the helicopter became a reality. And that was actually the most frightful period for me of that whole mission, was that thought, to realize we may have to abandon the helicopter.
Altitude 490 feet.
Dave knows he may only have one more chance to connect with the refueling drogue and save his crew.
5 minutes of fuel remaining.
At that point, my low-level fuel lights begin flashing. Now it's decision time. If we don't get this fuel, we're all going swimming.
5 minutes of fuel remaining.
Dave has run out of time. He faces the hardest decision of his life.
There was no option left. If I continued to use that fuel, thinking of my own ego that I can do this, that I can make this, you know, that could have killed everybody.
He can't save the chopper, but he might be able to save his crew. With the last drops of fuel, Dave takes the chopper down to let them bail out.
Okay, listen up. We are ditching this chopper. Jim, prepare the life raft. John and Rick, get ready to jump.
The pressure to make that decision had to be enormous. There was no objection from the crew, but he wasn't asking.
Okay, guys, let's do this.
I was scared. I didn't think we were going to survive.
Mayday, mayday, mayday. This is Air Force Rescue 110, ditching at coordinates 3.
It was something that I don't think everybody really believed was happening, even though it was actually happening.
So when he said ditching, I didn't think I could do it. I think it was more of a being scared out of my mind.
Mayday, mayday, mayday. This is Air Force Rescue 110, ditching at coordinates.
With just minutes of fuel remaining, the crew prepares survival equipment and the life raft.
5 souls on board.
Okay, I'm coming to the harbor. I want everyone out of here.
Air Force 988 to Air Force Rescue 110. Copy your mayday.
Dave hovers just above the crest of the waves to let the crew bail out.
The waves now are a lot bigger than what they had been when we were trying to get the guy in the sailboat.
Dave is now so close, he runs the risk of a high wave taking the chopper out.
Okay, I'm not able to hold this much longer.
Altitude, Dave, altitude.
We're running on fumes. It's time to go.
Number 1 engine offline. Mayday, mayday, mayday.
It could be seconds before we're going in the water. My number 1 engine flames out of me. I'm hovering on 1 engine.
I could actually hear the turbines wind down. I knew it was going to fall out of the sky at any moment.
Everyone out! Everyone out!
They must time their jump to the split second to hit the crest of a wave.
If you mistime your jump and hit the trough of a wave, you're looking at falling 70 feet. So hitting the water at 70 feet would be like hitting concrete.
But they must jump now. The chopper has only seconds of fuel left.
We're running on fumes. It's time to go.
Rick will be first to go. If he mistimes his jump, he could fall 20 meters into the trough of a wave and kill himself.
He looked like a spring, coiled, ready to jump. I don't recall him ever taking his eyes off of the ocean. He never looked at me.
Rick vanishes, and John gets ready to jump.
I was looking out of the aircraft at the water. I couldn't tell exactly when to jump because I couldn't tell the difference between the crest of the wave and the trough of the wave. I remember having this thought, oh my God, this is a long way down. I think I ended up going in facing the sky. I was completely out of body position. I know there were going to be consequences, that this is not the ideal way to enter the water.
Now there's only a few drops of fuel left.
Graham, get ready to go. You're going to. Dave, just do it, Graham. Go, Graham, now.
This was a bad situation. The likelihood of surviving it is extremely slim.
Only Dave and Jim are left on board.
I pushed out the raft. The raft blew up, but then all of a sudden it just went black and the raft literally just kind of blew away.
Stunned by the ferocity of the storm, Jim can't bring himself to jump.
I just sat back on the floor of the helicopter. Dave didn't know I was back there.
Unaware, Dave gets ready to ditch.
Once I realized that my crew had exited the helicopter, I moved at a distance that I felt was safe, that I would not put the aircraft down on any of my crew members. And I simply waited for number 2 engine to flame out. My mind was thinking in terms of seconds, what had to be done sequentially, 1 second after the other.
Without a thought for his own safety, Dave flies on, a safe distance from his crew.
I felt for Dave having to take the helicopter in. I didn't think he would survive the ditching.
Dave's out of luck. The second engine flames out.
Body of the helicopter hit. It was a boom, boom, instantaneous, a twofold action.
Instantly, the blades contacted the water, and that's when it got really violent. It was like someone took the helicopter itself and just lifted up and smashed it into the water. The water came in and instantly flushed me out of the cabin.
The helicopter immediately filled with water. I mean, the only thought was to get out of the aircraft immediately.
But Dave's door is jammed.
And I'm thinking to myself, this door is not going to open. When I surfaced on the ocean, the waves were huge, up to 100 foot. The winds were so strong, you know, basically biting into your face, stinging you.
Dave takes hardly a gulp of air before the waves suck him under again. But just when there seems no hope, John spots a distant light.
I couldn't see that well, though, because my retinas had hemorrhaged from the impact. I had a blue haze across my eyes. But every once in a while, I would see the strobe. So I'm thinking that there could be human beings attached to those strobes, and that's a good thing. But the dilemma was, if I could do anything about closing this distance, do I really want to do that? That was a real dilemma. I don't want to close this gap because I don't want to be there and die in their presence. I want to be by myself. And then I had this recollection from survival training. There's strength in numbers. Stay together as long as you can. And I couldn't ignore that.
John signals his position with his scuba light and starts to swim. But a kilometer of ferocious waves and hurricane winds separate him from the strobe light. With such severe injuries, he doesn't know if he can make it.
We saw a light, and this light got brighter and brighter. You know, what the hell is it? It's on the surface, and it's not a life raft.
And I just kept swimming and swimming. After an hour, I noticed I was closing the gap, that I was getting closer to the strobe light.
But as it got closer and closer, and it took a long time to get to us, I realized that it was John Spillane.
And I think it was probably another hour before I actually got there.
No! John! Are you okay?
Jim and I were both elated that we had, John with us. It was a great feeling. But we could see the pain on his face of how badly he was injured.
John!
He was in tremendous pain. Very, very bad pain.
We'll get you out of here.
My focus shifted from me to Jim's predicament. Seeing the hood on Jim Meoli, I thought was a very brave act. That simple. I knew that that was decreasing Dave's survivability. But I also recognized what a tremendous help it was to Jim, that it was increasing his survivability.
Jim can't control his own body. The muscles violently spasm in a bid to generate warmth, but he's on a rapid downward spiral.
While I was getting wasted by these waves and, freezing, with the hypothermia, the only real thought I had, it is silly, is who's taking care of my dog? Like, I hope someone gets my dog so that, they can walk her or feed her.
Once the rescuers, now the elite crew of Air Force Rescue 110, are in desperate need of rescue themselves.
If these guys couldn't pick us up, really, there's no one left.
The last survivors of Air Force Rescue 110 have fought to stay together. Now, they will die together.
You can't fight Mother Nature. She has her own plans for you.
I'm wondering, what point will I be so exhausted that I can't resist anymore? That I can't fight to get air. And that was frightening because I knew that point was going to come. It was very sad and frustrating because I wasn't ready. I needed more time.
They needed me, and I was going to do whatever I had to do to, make it through, get them through this, get us through.
Even to this day, I wonder how Dave had such strong hope. I don't think he doubted that he was going to see the rest of his life. He was gonna see the next day and the day after that.
Then we saw lights again. And I said to the guys, I said, that's a ship. You know, we could actually see it, and we could see its color, okay? It was white. It was a beautiful white ship, huge, big white ship. And then they began to fire off illumination flares.
It's the Coast Guard ship Tamaroa, its crew risking capsizing to rescue them.
The hope was back. That's the way out. That's our ticket home.
Love those guys. Tamaroa Coast Guard all the way.
We, by the grace of God, were bound together that night of October 30th, 1991. And we will forever be bound together based on that incident.
It took Jim Meoli a year to recover from the ordeal. John Spillane underwent a number of operations for his injuries. Dave Ravola survived the incident unscathed. They came aboard to find co-pilot Graham Bashaw had already miraculously been picked up.
Although you're glad you're alive, we're still missing a crew member, you know, and that's when it really hit home that, you know, there's still somebody out there. And, you know, that was Rick. You know, the Coast Guard cutter continued through the night looking for Rick and continued through the next day. And, well, they never found him. And that was particularly hard.
For 10 days, a combined forces operation searched almost 100 square kilometers of ocean for Rick. His body was never found.
It's so sad that he actually experienced what we all knew was a possibility, that he died doing this job. He was willing to take the risk. So I'm happy for him in that sense, that he got to live that life. But I'm very sad that he was one of the people who wasn't able to survive his career.
He left behind 4 daughters, the youngest just 2 weeks old.
He died while attempting to save somebody else's life. What better way to go? Very, very unfortunate, but that's who Rick was. Rick was a warrior. Rick was dedicated to rescuing people. That's what he did.
The perfect storm, as it became known, lasted 7 days, caused $200 million of damage to the East Coast, and killed 12 people. All 4 crewmen returned to active duty. The sailor they'd been sent to rescue was picked up by the Coast Guard the following day.
There's a pararescue creed that ends with the motto, "These things we do, that others may live."
Kyrgyzstan is a remote mountainous country in Central Asia, formerly part of the Soviet Union. It's here that 3 hunters have come on a trip of a lifetime in search of the rare Marco Polo sheep.
The Marco Polo sheep is probably the most majestic ram that you would see anywhere in the world.
Spook Span is here with his father, Denny.
All right, let's go.
The trip is the pinnacle of their lifetime's passion for hunting.
We're very much country people. Grew up hunting, fishing, running up and down the creeks and the rivers.
Hunting often takes them away from their home in Tennessee, but this is their most adventurous journey to date.
I really didn't know anything about Kyrgyzstan, just that it was mountainous. I did know that.
Hey, let's have a little wait for the camera, guys.
Joining the father and son is Spook's Canadian hunting buddy, Clay Lancaster.
The biggest appeal with the hunting part is the adventure. I mean, a lot of people think it's all about just shooting something, but it's not about that. It's about getting away from cities, telephones, people, getting into the high mountains.
The three friends arrive in Kyrgyzstan and set off in minivans for their remote base camp.
Come on, Clay, rise and shine.
I remember waking up and going, wow, is this ever cold? My feet were cold, my body was cold.
Hey.
Oh.
Mountains everywhere you looked, and it was absolutely beautiful.
This is it.
I felt about as remote as a human could possibly feel. I mean, we didn't even hear or see an airplane. I mean, there was nothing. Those are the kind of things that were a lot different than what I was used to.
Say, if I promise to be quick, calling home already, then?
Clay has brought along a satellite phone and GPS in case of emergency.
Back in 1 minute.
But Denny wants to check in with his wife, Ruby.
Hello, Ruby?
I called her and told her if we didn't fire a shot that this trip was worth it, because it was probably one of the most beautiful scenes I'd ever seen.
Boy, it was worth the journey. Thank you. Hope you said your goodbyes, Denny. From now on, this is strictly an emergency phone.
Well, you're kidding, Clay. Every call to the wife is an emergency.
Having bagged their trophy, the hunters are looking forward to heading home. Denny, Spook, and Clay leave base camp to travel on via the nearest town, over 300 miles away. But as they set off on the 8-hour journey, the weather begins to close in.
It had snowed a bunch. The road that we came in on, you couldn't actually even see it anymore because the wind got blown. It filled the road right in. I walked out away from the van, and I remember making a mark in the snow.
What'd you do that for?
I said, that's about as far as I think our Volkswagen van's gonna get.
I hope not.
I don't think we realized how deep and how bad it had got until we started.
Even I was being optimistic.
The snow is far too deep for the minivan. But the local guides now decide to carry on down the mountains to try and beat the oncoming blizzard.
And then that's when they said, oh, you have to get in this other truck. And I remember thinking, surprise, surprise. But it was an old military type vehicle. It was wide open, the wind's blowing right up your tailpipe. It wasn't real comfortable in the back of there.
With Denny at the wheel, they struggle on through the snow.
And he did an awesome job. We actually made it further while he was driving than we did with anybody else.
But after a few hours, Denny tires and has to give up.
After he started back, he never let me drive anymore.
And as the day goes on, they keep hitting snowdrifts. The hunters are stranded in an icy wilderness, 10,000 feet above sea level in a raging snowstorm. Night is fast approaching, and the temperatures begin to plummet to minus 40 degrees.
How am I going to get out of here?
We decided just to stop and spend the night and wait and hopefully figure out a way to get out.
That's when you're beginning to get a little bit apprehensive about, how am I going to get out of here?
As night falls, the temperatures plummet. Exposure to this extreme of cold can kill human beings within minutes. With just their snowsuits and a thin canvas, they have to huddle up to keep as warm as they can.
mean, it got down to, you know, somewhere around 30 to 40 below zero that night. The back of the truck was very crowded and it was very cold. It wasn't a fun, comfortable night by no means.
I was apprehensive, scared about the cold, being out of food. It was hard.
Maybe some sleeping bags out there.
Dad is very, you know, compassionate, always thinking of other people.
Somebody else.
And he was worried about were they going to be warm enough. We gave them whatever they needed, socks, boots, you know, jackets, whatever we had that we didn't have on our body ourselves, we let them use.
It's okay.
As night wears on, the locals sense just how dangerous the situation is.
They're getting a little worried. They live there all the time. They realize that people don't go out of their way to come save them, and there's no such thing as a search and rescue or anything like that.
Dawn on the third day brings a life-changing decision for Clay Lancaster. Stay and hope rescue will come, or risk hiking out to find help.
I thought to myself, okay, I'll give it to the end of today, and if nothing's happened by the end of today, then I'm walking. I definitely set it up in my mind that I was going to go.
As the weather clears, Clay's decision to stay proves to be the right one.
Listen.
Now it's like, there they are.
It's a helicopter, I know it is. Come on!
You know, it was a great feeling to see that helicopter come in.
They've only eaten scraps of food in the last 2 days, and they're ravenously hungry.
The food tasted really good.
Dinner's cold. Right.
And of course, they had their vodka. They always have vodka, you know. That's like water to them.
But no sooner has the helicopter landed than the hunters are astonished to see another unexpected sight heading towards them in the distance.
Then all of a sudden, here comes 3 snowmobiles.
We didn't have a clue who they were, where they were coming from.
It was like something you would see in a movie and you'd say, oh, that wouldn't really happen. These guys pull up, and the guys were from America. They spoke English.
We were kind of really shocked to see English-speaking U.S. Border Patrol guys on snow machines where we were at.
The Americans are on a training mission to help the Kyrgyzstan army, and they've been diverted to rescue the men.
And they said, we're here to get you guys out. And said, we'll do whatever you want to do, any way you want to do it.
Clay, Denny, and Spook now have a crucial decision to make. Decision made. The guides load up the chopper. But Spook notices it's carrying an enormous load.
As I get on the helicopter, and I just had a brief thought of, you know, that's kind of weird, you know. All our gear is just piled up in the middle of the floor in the helicopter. It's not strapped down, it's just kind of stacked up.
As it struggles to take off, he begins to doubt they've made the right decision.
And I look back at Clay and I said, do you think we're overloaded? But I mean, the crew seemed to be okay with it, so we just kind of let it roll off our shoulders and went with it.
The pilot gets airborne, and finally the ordeal is over. But as the helicopter makes its way over the mountains, it becomes clear something is wrong.
I could feel the helicopter sort of tip ahead a little bit. I thought, well, maybe it's out of balance or something.
Move back.
Each move back 1 seat.
Get back. Move back.
I remember looking back out of the window and still seemed like we were high up. And that's the last thing I remember.
The helicopter suddenly spins out of control and plummets to the ground.
I didn't even have time to put my hands up, and then my face flew right into the top of the roof of the helicopter.
It's just a horrifying moment. The fuel tank was on top of me.
I remember all of a sudden going, that looks kind of close. And then boom, we hit. We went sideways and we flipped 8, 9 times.
People were screaming and hollering and stuff was flying in every direction.
These drums came past me and hit me a couple of times. Then all of a sudden we came to a sliding sort of stop.
First thing I thought of was, you know, you don't live through these kind of things.
The helicopter is ripped open on impact. In the front, Clay is injured, his left eye badly bloodied. The first thing he hears are Denny's cries.
Denny started hollering from the back.
Where is he? Can you see him? Spook! Answer me, son. Answer me, son. Spook!
He didn't answer me.
Denny has no idea if his son has survived the crash.
That was one of the worst feelings I've ever had in my life. And I don't know whether it was 1 minute or 5 minutes or whatever it was. It seemed like an eternity.
As I turned to my right, I seen Spook laying down beside me. I said, it's okay, he's right here, he's right here. I said, I got him.
Spook!
Spook is alive but badly injured. He's been crushed on impact and has broken 6 ribs.
Easy, son.
I had blood coming out of my mouth. I could actually feel 1 or 2 of my ribs moving when I would breathe. Felt like knives sticking in me. I've never been in that much pain in that many different places.
Denny and Clay pull him out of the wreckage.
It was like something that would happen to you in a dream, and all of a sudden you just go deaf. It just goes quiet.
And it's only now Clay realizes that he too is badly injured.
And I realized at that point there that I couldn't see anything out of my one eye.
That eye.
It was bloody and looked like his eyeball was just torn out almost. You know, I thought it was gone.
And I looked at Denny and I said,
How bad is it?
It's bad.
Clay has lost the sight in one eye. But despite his injury, he and Denny head back into the wreckage to help the others still trapped inside.
There was some people's faces were just torn. It was really, really bad. People were hurt bad.
and I pushed send.
It produces the slimmest of lifelines.
Hello?
It went through to my brother,
Hey, it's me again.
and I said helicopter crashed, and I got half the GPS coordinates of where we're at to him.
Bro?
And then the phone went dead.
You still there? Bro? Bro?
Did my brother catch it all? Did he write it down? I don't know.
With no idea if the coordinates got through, they now face their third night out in the wilderness. And Clay realizes Denny is in extreme pain.
You okay, Denny?
My pain seemed to get worse as the nights went on.
Okay.
I had him lift up his shirt and could see a lot of bruising.
It's my ribs.
The adrenaline has been masking the pain until now.
I could tell his ribs were broken, and I was worried that, something was going to happen to him, whether it was puncturing a lung or maybe he'd already done something. Maybe he had some bleeding inside, too.
I say you've broken a couple of ribs there, Denny.
Yeah, well, maybe, but you don't look too good yourself.
Shoes and stuff.
It was like crazy. They just couldn't cope with it. They didn't try to preserve anything for any later moments.
I thought this is going to get really bad in a quick hurry.
Clay decides he must act, or risk everyone dying on the mountainside.
I'm not really good at sitting there and not doing anything. I don't really wait for anybody else to tell me what to do. I just go do it.
But Clay himself is carrying an awful injury.
I took a bunch of snow, cleaned off my eye the best that I could, and actually took some duct tape that I had there and just duct taped it up.
He now realizes he has no option. Half blind, he knows he must leave the wreckage and seek help.
This isn't good, if I don't walk out of here, there's definitely going to be some other people that are going to be gone.
Back at the wreckage, Denny and Spook can only wait and hope Clay will make it through.
Seeing death around you, seeing other people who you think may die within the next few hours, and being faced with the possibility that you may be one of those people. I had thoughts about, missing out on my kids growing up and, all the things that you get to experience and enjoy as a father. Fishing trips, hunting trips, ball games, plays, just watching them grow up. I love my wife dearly, and the thoughts of, not getting to see her again, race through your mind. It was the worst feeling, the worst moments that I've ever experienced.
Clay and the guide have been battling through the snow for 10 hours.
My legs didn't have the energy. Every time I'd step, I was like, take a deep breath, and it's just like picking up a chunk of lead.
They're completely exhausted.
It was getting closer to dark, and I hit the top of the hill.
Then, out of nowhere, he sees the sign of life he's been hoping for.
I looked in front of me, and I could see a military outpost, and I could hear snow machines.
It's a chance of rescue. But the riders of the snowmobiles can't see Clay and the guide. He has to find a way to get their attention.
It didn't seem like it got anybody's attention.
But Clay notices that one of the riders has stopped.
He went to the back part of his machine, and I fired a shot back behind him. And I watched with my binoculars, and his head popped up. I fired a second shot. And they all kind of turned and looked back towards him. And I could see they seen me, and they all jumped on their machine and come roaring to where I was at.
Incredibly, The snowmobiles are the same ones from the US military that Clay, Denny and Spook turned down a lift with just 36 hours earlier.
Seeing English-speaking guys on snow machines at that point, I was pretty happy to see them.
After 3 days out in the mountains, their ordeal is finally over.
Hearing that snowmobile get closer and closer and seeing him pull up, it was a sweet feeling.
Oh, it was just a great feeling. That was one of the greatest feelings I've ever had.
The hunters are flown to Hong Kong, where they receive medical treatment. Clay's eye is treated, and his sight is saved.